Authenticate! Authenticate! Hello everyone, my name is Sigflapsinusvabo, also known as Assembly, and this is going to be another part of this tutorial, the first tutorial that I'm doing, this beautiful tutorial that you all get to experience. I'm kidding, of course. It's my first tutorial, so I'm probably going to make mistakes, but what we're doing is we're setting up an LDAP server, and then we're setting up a user in that LDAP database, and then we're logging in using that user from the LDAP database. So we've already set up the server. This is that OpenBSD box that we were dealing with last time. And now we want to set up a user. So the first thing we want to do is type LDAP search. I'm not doing this for any particular reason. I'm just doing it to dump out the database to tell you something about it. Oh, typed the wrong password. As you can see, our database isn't much. It's actually nothing. What I want to tell you is LDAP is a hierarchical database where you have root org at the top, and then dangling from that you have sigflup, and then admin, and so on. It's kind of from the right to the left as domain names are. So the very first thing we want to do is add a user. And how do we do that? The easiest way to do that is with templates. Thankfully, I have some templates here. I put them on the internet, so let's install wget. Alright, we want to get http://theadasilva.com/first.ldiff. And then we have user.ldiff as well as group.ldiff. We communicate with LDAP through LDiffs. LDiffs are just file containing definitions, pretty much. When you issue an LDAP search, you get returned a LDiff file that you can pipe to a file from standard out. So let's look at first. What we're going to do at first is put in definitions for people and groups, so that we can dangle things from people and dangle things from groups. So that's pretty much what it is. You can see it's set up for sigflup.org. So you want to get, if you get these templates, you want to set that up to your own organization. Let's just add that into the database. LDAP add. Alright, now we have those entries. Let's take a look at the user template. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We have a login shell and a home directory and a UID and a group ID and whatnot. The only peculiar thing about it is it's using POSIX account object class, which is from a schema file that we don't have installed. So before we add this into the database, we want to go back to our server configuration and edit the hell out of it. Looks like all we need to do is include some more schema files. So let's include them. We have cosine.schema. You want to include these in this order. They're dependent on each other. And org person.schema. And finally, the all-inclusive nis.schema, which has our POSIX definitions. You just want to make sure we have them. If we go to the schema directory, and we don't actually, we have cosine there, we have an org person there, but we don't have nis.schema. the OpenBSD package is kind of funny. I don't know why they don't have NIS schema in here. It's actually put somewhere else. It could be for copyright reasons. I'm not entirely sure why. But you just want to copy it where it was put. So it's actually in user local, share, examples, OpenLDAP, schema, nis.schema. So that's all well and good. I think now we can restart our server. And now we can add that template to our database. The templates might as well be opaque blobs. You're just going to be editing a couple things in them. And so now we have a user added. This user is, as you can see, this user is user ID 3000. I think 3000 is a good starting point. It's well beyond what you're going to add locally. And a group ID of 3000. We actually don't have a group for this user yet, so there's one more template that we want to use, and that is group.ldiff. Add that to our database. Oops, typing in the wrong password. And so that's added to our database. You can see that group is pretty small, just adds a group ID 3000. So our database is populated. Let's go ahead and issue getEnt and see what our password file looks like. Doesn't really look like anything right now. It's just our default password file. We don't have the user that we just added, which is unfortunate. The password file is connected to the yp-bind bone. The yp-bind bone is connected to the yp-serve bone, and the yp-serve bone is connected to the etc password file bone. What we want to do is put yp-LDAP in there to reference an LDAP server as well as etc password. And so this program is called yp-LDAP. It's part of the YP suite of programs that all work on RPC. So it gets kind of hairy when they all work on RPC. But if you have this server running, you'll pull LDAP entries from it. So let's get yp-LDAP running. Go to etc yp-LDAP.conf. It's actually installed already. So I tend to cd to things when I want to edit them. So just fill this out for your domain. sigflep.org. Oh, get rid of this ugly IP. Change that to ldap.sigflep.org. sigflep.org. And I believe that's it, which is pretty cool. You'll notice that the server string is just ldap.sigflep.org. It's not ldap.s://sigflep.org. It's not ldap.sigflep.org:636 or anything like that. It's actually using the insecure port for OpenLDAP, which is unfortunate. What the reason why is because yp-LDAP for OpenBSD does not support SSL yet. I know, that's crazy. OpenBSD not supporting something that's including SSL. It's just the way it is. And so if you want to edit yp-LDAP and add SSL support, we would all be very, very happy about it. But until then, we're going to use the insecure channel. So let's go back and reconfigure our server to listen on the insecure channel as well. Just change some of the flags. There, that's all I have to do, and now it listens on the insecure channel as well. So we want to go ahead and restart the server. Now we can't actually do anything about it. We need to edit the library configuration file too, and have that use the insecure channel as well, because OpenLDAP, I'm sure, uses the library. So let's just do a search real quick and see if that worked. And it looks like it did. So now we can run OpenLDAP. Almost. We can almost run it. We need to do a couple of things first. First thing we need to do is set up our domain name. We type domain name. We don't have one set. So you want to set it to sigflup.org. You also want to echo sigflup.org into etc default domain. And after that, you want to echo this peculiar string into your password file. 123, 123. That's 9 colons, everybody. OpenLDAP is going to replace those with an entry of its own. We also want to do that to the groups file, or the group file, with just 3 colons. All right, we're almost set. We want to run yp-init m. Answer the questions. The defaults are pretty much okay. We're not going to run make or anything like that, invar yp or anything like that. So now we're just about ready to run OpenLDAP. The first thing we got to run is port map, because it is an RPC daemon. So now that we got port map going, we can type yp-ldap/dv. We cross our fingers. Our fingers are crossed. If this works, it pushes our entries into the password. And it worked. So we're pushing sigflup and the sigflup group. These are the password strings that goes into the password file. You can go ahead and get ent password and see that it still isn't in there. Well, the reason why it isn't in there is because we're not running yp-bind. So let's quit that and run OpenLDAP for reals, and run yp-bind after that. Looks like that's running, and you'll notice that it's not populated yet. The timeout was 60 seconds, so we should give it a bit of time. In the meantime, I can show you the rest of my rig here. We have FFmpeg recording the capture to /temp/out, and that's it. There's not much else going on here.